Hello and welcome to the Prestin Sexton podcast. Here live today at what is 11:15 in the morning. That is 11:27. Can't read today, but nonetheless, we'll get right into our topic, which is video games we think would make great movies. And also, as a special treat to our viewers, we've brought in a special guest, the one, the only, Caleb James Sexton. Yeah, let's go!
Hello.
He's hyped, folks. He is hyped as hell to be here.
Totally not here against his will.
No.
It's my day off and I need to get some fresh air, so I'm in a college dorm room, so this should be enjoyable.
Enjoyable, he says, in what I would have to assume is verbal quotations. So, we're each going to say two video games we think would be great movies, and I think it's right that we make our guest say his first topic.
Okay, so, best one, first one. It's just, like, a lot of times with these video game movies, you try to get involved in plot and stuff and everything else. You just gotta go simple. You gotta go with a shooter, and I say Titanfall/Titanfall 2 would be awesome. Just a Transformers-esque Michael Bay movie. You open up, and there's just some grunts on the ground. They're fighting their way. There's robots and explosions. No. The squad dies.
No.
Except for your main character, and he looks up, and his mentor's there, and he's like, I got this. Stand by for Titanfall, and a robot just falls from the sky and kills everything in its path. It could be awesome. I'm just saying.
You've thought about this quite a bit, haven't you?
I took 3 minutes.
I kind of like that idea of having the same kind of Michael Bay, like, stupid, ugly movie that you watch, and you're like, that was fun. I like that.
With CGI, that will be outdated in 3 years.
Hey, go back and watch Transformers. That shit still holds up, believe it or not.
It really doesn't.
Screw you. Yes, it does.
And do we need to bring up Avatar?
Dude, I don't like Avatar. I almost said that in one of my
Wait, yeah, that's Michael
movies.
Bay, right? Or is that James Cameron?
That's not Michael Bay. I don't know movies, but I'm pretty sure Michael Bay didn't make that one.
No, that was James Cameron. Go back and watch that movie. I remember watching it when I was a kid. I'm like, I like this movie. I was at my friend's apartment, and I think, did we watch it with Lars? And you might not have. I rewatched it. I'm like, I don't like this movie anymore. I don't like it. I don't like it anymore.
But we're getting off topic.
Yeah,
we do this.
So how about you, Gabe? What's one movie you'd like, or a video game you'd like to see be turned into a movie?
Well, I think you go with something, and some people might argue that, it's the same concept, blah, blah, blah. But Red Dead Redemption 2 is arguably a movie in itself. But, say it.
Well, I don't think it would be good, but I wanted you to do your sales pitch first.
Screw you, Caleb. Anywho, you actually watch some of the cutscenes in that, and they are very cinematic in the way they're done, and it's art. And the story is actually what is, in my personal opinion, a top 10 campaign single-player story, because you actually feel things for these characters, and the fact that, it is cinematic. Like, there is a actual plot line that character Arthur goes from being kind of a dickhead to being a nice guy.
So, here's my argument against it is, honestly, you mentioned it's cinematic and it's kind of like playing a movie and everything. How long is that game on the main story alone? 30 hours, right?
Around there.
So how would you condense a 30-hour epic where it's you saving characters, you are getting saved by other people, you're doing these things so you feel the emotion, into an hour to 3 hour movie where you're doing nothing except watching?
Or you make part 1 and part 2, duh.
Or you do what I'm going to do with my first one and just make it like a TV show. You know, like Vikings? You ever seen Vikings?
Oh, yeah. Vikings is good.
Like, just make 5 seasons of 1 hour episodes every week. That's what I'd personally do with it. And that's what I'll be doing with my next one. But I'll let you continue to talk about Red Dead.
That's an interesting concept, because then I think you could turn the chapters, because there's 6 chapters, I believe. Yeah. I haven't played it in a while.
5. It's 6, and then there's an epilogue or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, because he plays John Marston.
Spoilers.
It's been out for like 3 years.
And also, would you play like the main storyline in the game, or would you write a completely new story for them?
No, I think you got to stick with what's being done, but kind of watch it play out. Because I think you could have the chapters be a season, and then 1 hour episodes, and kind of backtrack from there. 'Cause I think that would be an interesting concept. I don't know how well it would be executed, because...
Can I just go into a slight tangent? So, I think the issue a lot of times with adapting video games is that you don't want to follow too closely with the stories and everything in general, because someone has done that already, and it's meant more to them because you've, not that you're physically doing it, but you've had the controls, and it's your story of how it's happened. If you were to do like a Red Dead Redemption-esque thing, I would argue that you'd want to make it a prequel to Red Dead Redemption 2, where they are in Blackwater and they're doing their heist there, and then you would go and it'd fail, or that sort of story would happen, and then you would read right up to Red Dead Redemption 2.
I like that idea of having it as like a prequel.
Because you just don't want... Because people have memories of this stuff. I have memories of playing that game and stories and everything else, and you don't want to kind of tread upon that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because there's been some bad video game movies. You ever seen Prince of Persia?
Mario Brothers.
That's a bad movie.
It's a bad movie.
Hey, but the TV show
was also bad.
Peak fiction.
That was peak.
No, it wasn't.
Oh my goodness. There's what's another one that's kind of bad? Doom, the Doom movie.
Yeah, the one where Doom Eternal basically laughed and mocked them and said, "This isn't a part of the franchise. We're not involved in this at all."
Assassin's Creed.
I haven't seen that one.
See, I heard that was okay.
Mortal Kombat.
The new one I heard is like, if you want to just see stuff happen, go see it.
I can't.
I am a little excited for Uncharted, though, for being honest.
Because you like Tom Holland.
Nah, it's just because
yeah.
I love Uncharted too, and I mean that game's basically playing a movie, so it'll be kind of hard to mess that up.
See, we're Chad Xbox users. We're not soy boy.
Yeah, you both are beneath me.
Sorry, we're not soy boy PlayStation users.
Did you play Uncharted?
Did you
No,
play
we
the
played
newest
Halo.
game that's exclusive to PlayStation? It's a cutscene, and occasionally there's like an A prompt in it. Did you play that one? That was a good one. I heard it was a child, like a mother and father, and like a child dynamic in it too. It's really unique.
Wait, no, sorry, I played Halo when I was a kid. Sorry.
I had a good childhood. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oopsies, sorry.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you go ahead.
I suppose I can.
What's yours? Come on.
I can get into mine, and of course, I'm going to talk about a video game that's probably going to be an Xbox exclusive. I'm going to go into the Elder Scrolls. I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan. I've played the last 3 games now. Haven't played anything before that because it's like at that point I'll just be playing on a potato.
This is true. Oblivion is good. But
The last, like, besides Skyrim, the other 2 I've played, 3 and 4, it was almost like playing on a potato. So
Yeah.
I'm not going back any farther.
Can't go back.
But I kind of want to see a Elder Scrolls like TV show, not a mini series, like
Okay.
Game of Thrones?
like a 20, yeah, like almost like a Game of Thrones.
Is there sex? Is there the sex?
I don't think you have to have it in the Elder Scrolls because they don't have it in the games.
Not canon. Sex is
no
not
fun.
canon.
Remember, in Skyrim, you can't even have your own kids. You have to adopt them.
Yeah, boo. Boo is what I say to that.
had-
Adoption's cool, don't get me wrong, kids. Adoption's really cool.
Nice save.
Like, no, adoption's bad. No adopting kids.
But yeah, I do the Elder Scrolls, and like the story would be kind of based around the rise of the Empire, Tiber's septum or something like that. Him forming like the new Empire. It's kind of something we haven't really seen in the games. Like I want to see a Talos of Atmora just go out and start slaying everything.
That's fair.
That, or I want to see like an Ysgramor.
That'd be kind of nice, actually.
I was about to say, have you played the Elder Scrolls game, Caleb?
I've only played Skyrim, sadly.
Well, yeah, then you know who Ysgramor is.
Vaguely, it has been a long
He's the
time.
genocidal. He's the guy who pretty much killed every elf in Skyrim.
Oh yeah, I remember him now. Yeah.
You know the companion storyline.
Yep, his axe. Yep, I remember it now.
I would stay out of this one, folks.
Yeah. So I'd have it rather following Ysgramor on his like quest to conquer Skyrim. Like basically with Ysgramor, like he was like a person from Atmora, the first humans on Skyrim. They settle on a place in Skyrim. He leaves to go back to Atmora. Or no. He's in Skyrim, but while he's away from camp, like all the snow elves come in and like basically kill everyone in that camp, including Ysgramor's son. So Ysgramor goes back to Atmora, gets as many people. No, this is all canon.
This is canon. That's why it's good.
Oh, well, it sounds like fan fiction.
Goes back to Atmora, basically they call them the companions, the first the 500 best soldiers, and they basically kill every snow elf.
They commit genocide. It's genocide.
As revenge, but they don't kill every snow elf. They end up going over to the dwarves. Go to the dwarves who enslave them and turn them into Falmer. And it's just a cool story. Or like I said, I do the whole thing of like Talos forming the first empire.
I think that the Ysgramor one would probably work best because there is some lore there, but it's kind of vague, so you can expand upon it. And the other big thing is everybody knows Skyrim. So if you can connect it back to Skyrim initially before you jumped into other things, I think that would be best. Because everyone and their mom has played Skyrim at some point. That's kind of the truth. So if you can, they would draw a lot more people in if you could kind of relate it back to Skyrim initially. And then maybe like 3 seasons in, you can go do another storyline.
Talos.
Exactly.
Talos becoming the first emperor of the empire and then descending into godhood.
I will say this, and I haven't ever played Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls,
Which is sad.
I did, and then I got turned into a vampire.
It's just don't worry. It's only a man thing. Gabe's not there yet.
Yeah, it's all good, bud.
Thanks. Anywho, the lore is very, very deep from what I know, to the fact that like it almost does write itself. Like, exclusively write itself because it's so deep.
And since it's only video games, like, the lore they have is really in either the games or it's, like, in books. So, like I said, it's there. The sources are there. You just gotta take those and move it over. I don't think you should do anything involving the games because, well, we've already played those. Plus, it's like everyone in their, like he said, everyone and their mothers played Skyrim, so like no one wants to watch Skyrim the movie.
It's like, who wants to watch something they played through already?
The main quest line was not very good anyways.
Yeah, no. Not at all. You do
it. Was
you play it for the side quests.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Even though Skyrim is for the Nords.
I don't know. I would side Imperial, honestly, but
nah. Oh. I used to be an Imperial. I used to side for the Imperials, but then I was like, nah. I don't like the High Elves.
There's brewing tension in the room.
Discussion for another time, but I have my own reasons.
I'm like, guys, please don't fight, please.
You don't even understand what we're talking about.
No, I have not a clue what's going on. Like a lost little puppy dog.
Yeah, but I just want to see Elder Scrolls because I've played Skyrim at least 20 times I've done at least 20 playthroughs.
This is true. He was like, "Do you want to see me play Skyrim?" Like, "Yep, I will watch you play Skyrim, Preston." And his house was decked TF out. He's like, "Oh, here's my legendary sword." I'm like, "That's cool."
Oh yeah, that's the legendary sword. That's too crappy for me to use.
Yeah, he's like, "I don't want to use it."
I feel that.
He's like, "I'll just throw it up and let people look at it, I guess."
And then I kind of also want to see like all like the Daedric, like all the gods. Like I kind of.
That would be one of those you would work towards though, because you don't want to start with that because that gets deep into it. You want to kind of ease people into
it's like that. It's almost something you could do with like a Talos storyline because like I said, he descends and becomes one of the 9 divines.
And then as you get like more popular and it gets more funding, you can do that sort of wackier side stuff that arguably is more interesting than the normal stuff, but you don't want to start with it.
It's like, and I think it would be appealing to anyone who likes like the Lord of the Rings movie, because it kind of has the same type of vibe to it. D&D
off the rails.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this, like, you could do just so much with it, and that's something I just want to see.
That's probably true. Well, I think it's back to me.
Actually,
or no, it's back to Caleb. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
I was thinking Sexton in my mind, telepathically linked.
Rude to begin with, but so second video game.
Yeah.
If we can do TV shows, I think Destiny would make an excellent anthology series where you could do like 1 to 3 episodes, because there is so much like time span. And the lore is there, but it's vague enough where you have so much to work with, from like humanity has a golden age and then it kind of falls. So basically the premise of Destiny is kind of like big bad stuff happens. Humanity's like a technological golden age. The darkness shows up, and then a big ball shows up to prevent that. And like way later in time, these little these little floating ghosts come out. Or they're not ghosts. They look like a ball with little bits hanging off of it. It's hard to describe, but then they can revive a person and they come back with no memories, but they get like powers. Like some guy could summon a flaming sword. Another guy just hits the ground real hard with lightning. Things like that. And there's such a breadth of time from beginning to end with where you can go. Because currently, I mean, the video game is out, so you don't want to set anything too close to that because they're working on their own storylines. But you've got like thousands of years of stuff to work with. There was a time when people came back with these powers, and they were not good people, and there are other people.
What?
Yeah, they would
abuse this power.
Oh yeah, there was.
What? Why would they do that?
Because they were bad people. And then you could explore themes of light and darkness and all sorts of, like, what do we do? There's aliens coming from everywhere. There's so much you can just do with it. You can keep it lighthearted. You can do sad storylines. Like, you can do virtually anything there as long as you don't tread upon what they have.
This sounds like an anime series.
You would want to do it animated because the sort of stuff you have there would look really bad unless you invested a lot in the CGI.
Yeah, I think that sort of stuff.
And if you do a limited series, it's kind of hard to plug a lot of money into CGI.
Exactly. So I would argue for like an animated anthology of eight like stories. And then if it got popular, you just do more of them.
I think that's a pretty good way to go about it.
Yeah, and I've never played the Destiny game, so I don't know much about it. But I mean, it sounds like it'd be a pretty cool basis to start a TV show around.
Bold. We just heard him go on for 2 minutes about it, so I think it's...
I've played a god-awful amount of it. I recommend you get into it and despise it in the same breath, so...
Preston is to, like, the Elder Scrolls as Caleb is to Destiny. Like, that's the best way I can put it for you to get your mind around it.
But, yeah, that's my sales pitch would be Destiny. There's a ton of stuff you can do there. Whatever you want, just keep it. Just don't do the new age, like the completely right now stuff, because it goes by yearly, and that's where the players are.
I think that's good. I think it's good to have like a video game where they clearly have a prior story, or like the lure, but to kind of expound upon that. Can't speak today. I think that's been the best so far, the best of things that we've gotten through, best suggestions. I don't know.
The Skyrim one was pretty good too, honestly. But you know, both of them have a lot of lore, and like a popular video game attached. But then you can kind of go back in time and do your own, expand upon it. There's like a loose framework for you to work in, and then you can just do your own thing with it.
Yeah, like nothing's set in stone where they're like, well, obviously there's points that happen, but people want to see that. People don't want to just hear about it, you know? Unless they do and I'm wrong. But I'm never wrong. Ever. Never, ever.
Yeah, you believe that.
I do believe
Didn't
that.
you say the Vikings were going to win double-digit games this year?
Didn't they lose to the Lions?
This is a movie podcast. Not
so
a
just
sports
so
podcast.
listeners know, in
Yeah.
case they don't, the Lions is arguably the worst team ever in the NFL, and the Vikings are mediocre at best. Gabe loves them, and they just completely wipe the floor with them.
Preston loves them
I
too.
love them too.
My man.
He loves the Vikings.
I like the Vikings too, but it's hilarious to see them lose to
We
the
can't
Lions.
just. No, it's not. It's painful.
The Prestin Sexton Sports Podcast coming soon.
Just leave me out of this. I don't know much.
Anywho,
So, Gabe, what's your next suggestion, Gabe?
this might seem like a different one, but I think you could take God of War and turn it into a movie, an actual movie, and not like an anthology series. Because, in the new one, he has his son, and then they were going to go bury his mom. You could show, Kratos and... I forget what the mom's name was. 'Cause I never played it. I don't have PlayStation. I'm a Chad Xbox user. But he has a trace. Caleb's going to look it up.
It's bothering me because I think I know the name, but I'm not 100%. I don't want to mess it up.
You could definitely have a show where he is, with them, for sure, just to show what that was like a brief movie, sort of, maybe an hour-long kind of short film.
The new game looks like it's going to be really good because it's going to be diving into the Norse mythology gods now. So you're going to have Thor, you're going to have the Lokis, you're going to have the Odins, you're going to have everything kind of like that.
Yeah, and even in this one, because you had Freya and what's the guy?
Baldur was the big bad. He's invincible unless the only thing that swore in all of creation to not harm him, that skipped the promise, was Holly.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna get right into the game, but there's reasons for stuff.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued by that. Just a guy playing Kratos, just kicking the crap out of different gods and different mythologies would be fun to watch.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm saying, you could have him, with his family, because if you played the games, he's a violent dude, he's a bad dude, he's bad, man. But I think, having, this little cabin kind of, small drama would be neat for the character, because he's constantly beating the shit out of, gods.
He spends time with his wife. I looked it up. It was Faye, by the way. I would have been right. But he has that, and he has flashbacks to when he was in the original God of War games.
Sparta.
You could also talk about how he got there. I mean, there's an entire Egyptian pantheon that's really expansive you could get into if you wanted to make a completely different thing.
Yeah, where he has to kind of fight them to move on.
Yeah. Maybe before or after. I don't know. Part of the problem with that is you would have to, again, go backwards because you don't know where the story with Atreus is going, so you can't mess with that.
I wouldn't want to go forward. I'd want it to go backward to see, how he got to the cabin that he was in.
Spend some time with the wife. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He's me wife. Me ride wife. Wife dead. Sad wife gone.
Time to kill gods.
Time to kill Magni Modi. I think that would be an interesting kind of offset to where there's more grand spectacles. I'm nope, he's just a family dude living out in the woods with his son and his wife. Good idea? What do we think?
I'd be intrigued by it.
I'd be interested, but I feel like it's one of those I'd watch 2 episodes of and be and move on.
Yeah, because Caleb needs to have something constantly entertaining.
No, but what you described was kind of a slice of life with some action, and we already got a 12-hour video game that was slice of life with more action.
Yeah, but not with his wife.
I think that the one issue that would come with the God of War games is that you're gonna be following the character from the games, so that's gonna come with criticism already because Kratos is kind of a guy that has a huge, ginormous following in the video game world. So if you do one thing that the fan base doesn't like, the TV show is most likely going to bomb.
Yeah, that's kind of the tough call where your best bet is to always go within established canon and not take characters from video games. And if you were playing as that person, you don't want to mess with it because people love him. And he's not PG-13 either. He's
rated porn.
There's literally a sex. I'm pretty sure there's a sex mini game in every God of War game until this one.
Sex is canon.
Sex is canon. He's done so many violent things I don't really want to get into, I think, but just look it up.
Special. It'd be like a Netflix kind of special. Maybe like a Hulu thing. Not Disney, though.
An hour-long thing.
Like maybe, like an hour-long kind of him just living.
How he gets into Norse.
I think it would do best as him, like almost like an old cowboy kind of, where he's like, I've done some bad things and I don't want to get back into this life, and so he kind of just goes away.
And then he gets dragged back in by something.
Yeah. By Boulder. He gets dragged. That's where I'm like, you could tell that part of the story. Because I feel like it kind of sets that up. I feel like the game almost sets that up more than anything else. Of like, okay, I really want to know what he was like, what his wife was like, and...
The only issue with that would be, I bet they're saving that sort of stuff for the next game or two with her. Which is where it would be tough. But if they don't go into it, I think I'd be down for it. The question would then be, would it be live action, or would you want to do like an hour-and-a-half animated special of him like ending up in the Norse thing? He kind of meets Fae. They don't kill like any gods, but maybe they kill like a famous ice giant from Norse mythology. Or not an ice giant, they're good, but like... I don't know, a troll or something. Like there's enough mythology out there to pick something.
Like you mean something like kind of like the serpent?
Yeah, but not, you don't want to kill... But he's a good guy. But, like, something not quite that level of...
The world serpent.
No, but, like, something minor. Like, I'm sure there's, like, 50 billion trolls in Norse mythology. Just pick one, and then they can kill it together.
And you don't even have to kill him. You could put him in, like, dormant.
Yeah, just beat the crap out of them together. Like, and that'd be your action portion.
Like Surtur. Like,
True.
You could do something.
Actually, yeah, that would be kind of a good one. Like, maybe they beat up Surtur together, and that's kind of how they met, is that. And
he's like, hey, honey,
it wouldn't be like they stop Ragnarok or anything, or like delay Ragnarok. There's just like something like Surtur's kind of like rising.
Small scale
is like rising up power in somewhere.
Yeah, like a mid-level scale where, yeah, he might cause problems, but he probably will just... go somewhere else and do what he wants.
He almost let one loose there. He almost let one loose. Dog was screaming to get out of the cage.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting basis. Like,
did you ever play God of War?
I haven't played the entire game.
Wait, you own a PlayStation and you haven't played arguably the best PlayStation exclusive games on it.
Well, I'm sorry. I've been focusing on other
sorry, he has
exclusives.
Finals. He's got finals, Caleb.
Well, just
don't do this.
Christmas.
Hey,
you got
Caleb. I can't delay my 20th playthrough of Skyrim to play something new. You kidding?
He's like, what? What? Are you kidding?
I know what you're feeling. I really had to toss up.
Plus, I'm kind of like playing Fallout at the moment.
I don't like Fallout.
I feel like you have a thing for broken open world games, but I'm not sure.
He has an erection for them.
Hey,
Heard
mods.
it here, folks.
You get mods, they're not broken.
It's not broken if I break it myself.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
So is it my turn?
Yeah, I was about to say, what do you got, man?
My other movie will be The Last of Us, like a Last of Us movie based around like the horror genre. Like, you're not gonna follow.
They are making that.
I was supposed to say, you're not gonna follow Ellie and Joel. You're gonna like follow like someone else kind of going through something kind of similar they're doing.
Well,
except it's gonna be like a horror genre.
They are making that.
Are they?
But Joel, I think it's Joel and Ellie. But Joel is actually Pedro Pascal. And I'm like, okay, well that'll be interesting, but Caleb has an anti-Last of Us.
I don't have an anti-Last of Us view. It's one of those games where
I just don't like it and I hate it.
You play it once or you watch a playthrough of it once, and I would never touch it again because it's a movie in and of itself.
That. Yeah, I understand that,
and that's fine. That's not a problem to me. But the problem that's kind of where I'm at. I have nothing against him. It's just not necessarily my cup of tea with that kind of story.
Yeah, I would just be intrigued by like a horror movie, like Last of Us. Like, these people basically, like...
I could see.
The cordyceps is kind of not the most unique, but a fairly unique spin on the zombie trope. Would be interesting. I would honestly say the only caveat I would want to put in is just completely separated from Last of Us. I don't want any Easter egg, like nothing. Completely other continent if you have to.
Yeah, it's like
Africa or
basically what I do is like I kind of base off like the start of it and kind of it like the first start of like, you know, the breakout happening and everyone dying and different stuff like that. Except it'd be completely separate from the main story. It's gonna be like a different view on it.
Okay.
In like on a smaller scale, so you're gonna have just like
some live action.
You'd have some like live action horror.
I think that'd be fairly interesting because the zombies in there are like they're not. It would be another zombie one, so you kind of have to be. It would have to be a good one because the zombie market right now is oversaturated. But the Cordyceps is a unique take on it. I think it would have a solid chance. And Last of Us is such a big IP, it's hard to mess that up.
Yeah. And then, like, you could do so much with it because, you know, it's like I can't remember the exact name for them, but the zombies that they're are like people they know. So, like, I think you could do, like, a deep dive into people not wanting to, like, kill them because that's someone they know, someone they have a relationship with. So I'd like it to kind of see like they're not killing them per se, they're trying to get away from them without harming them because they still have hope that they'll be able to cure it at some point.
A vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
thanks, Joel.
Yeah. And honestly, anyone who's played the game has seen what happens to the zombies. There's not really any fixing that.
Yeah, it's like we as the players will, but like the people in the movie don't know that. Like, so it's them kind of like trying to keep on to like their like the last string of hope they have.
Okay, I think that's a good idea of trying to keep like humanity.
Theme of hope.
Yeah,
trying to keep that little flame
and then
alive.
It gets crushed.
Yeah, in the end it just gets squished.
Squish.
And then I do have an honorable mention.
What's that?
Oh, I have one too, but you go first.
I got Fallout. Like Skyrim.
I don't think that would work. I really don't.
It's like Skyrim, there's just so much there that you could make. That's why it's an honorable mention, because I'm not quite as intrigued by it. But just the thought of like a person living through like the opening times of the nuclear fallout, because you know that's the one thing they haven't dived into too much is like the events right after the nuclear Armageddon.
Oh, just to see how things kind of shook
out.
Okay, yeah.
To see kind of like the first stages of like the new civilization being built up. You can go like into like the Brotherhood of Steel, like the beginning points of that. You could dive into a lot of source material there and kind of just have like the first years of the nuclear Armageddon happening.
I think that'd be one of those where if you've ever seen, there was 8 Halo shorts called Halo Legends produced where it's different animated. I think that's where that would be best. The problem to me with a Fallout like TV or movie is it doesn't really gain a lot from being Fallout, if that makes sense, because you could just go your own path and not have constraints with that sort of thing.
And that's kind of the reason I have it in the honorable mention.
Yeah.
Like, well, he's thought about this, Caleb. He's thought about it.
I was just making
it's like I'd be intrigued by it, but I think it would be pretty hard to do.
Like, I wouldn't be like, I gotta go see that. I'd be like, yeah, buy it for like $5 down the line.
I'm intrigued. I'll watch it if it's on like Netflix.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I have kind of an oddball one. How many have you guys ever played a game called Subnautica before?
I've heard of it.
I have not.
I've seen you play it.
So Gabe has seen me play. Yeah. So it's kind of just an underwater survival. It's an alien planet, but it's all underwater. That's kind of the unique thing about the game. It's scary. It's really scary. It is underwater. Like, you will drown if you don't go near your equipment or anything like that.
Oh, I'm scared.
So as an honorable mention, I don't know how well it would work, but I'd like a horror movie, like a 2-hour
an underwater like alien horror movie.
Yes, because it's like it's beautiful, but it's alien, and then there are like large creatures like the size of bus and bigger. They're called leviathans, and they will just eat you. and everything else like that. There is like a thin plot for it, but most of it is just exploration, and I think that'd make like kind of a cool horror slash. I don't know if there's a genre for like pretty stuff, but like horror slash underground beauty and artistic stuff going there. If you get my drift.
Yeah, and like so like could a story for it be like there's these like human. Are they humans first?
So what happens in it is essentially you crash land and you're the only human survivor left, and there's like a ancient alien virus. I think it's called Kahara. They butchered the pronunciation. But you go throughout and you get infected. So the alien race or whatever that was on the planet before was really close to curing it, but their facilities got destroyed by a lot of the wildlife there. So your goal is to find blueprints and things, build like you start with nothing. You can end up with like a sub and an underwater like deep sea suit, like a prawn suit.
Make a vaccine.
And you end up making a vaccine for it, but you uncover like the mysteries of the planet, and you learn about the wildlife. It'd be kind of a neat like horror survival.
Life of Pi-esque.
So could like one thing like a story like you obviously probably don't want to base it off the video game, like the story off the story in the video game. So like could like one thing you could do is like humans want to explore the planet to like maybe there's like a natural resource in there they want to start like
there are
something like that. So like they send a team down there and then like the Leviathans and different things just keep
it could be like a
one by one, like in just like a horror genre with amazing visuals.
That'd be cool. It could be a precursor too, where they land there and they end up like, because there were people before, and there was another ship that crashed there, and a lot of them got picked off and destroyed and died, and they ended up like they could get sick from this vaccine. I don't know why they're getting sick, and there's this giant monster that's picking off the prawn suits and things, and you see like. I mean, all this crashed gear and stuff had to get there somehow.
Yeah, and that'd be cool because like then you could like almost lead it right into the game to like where the end, like the last person's alive. They basically like able to like send out a beacon to everyone else, like don't come here type thing.
And it kind of yeah, and but the thing with that is it kind of failed because they got near the planet and got shot down by an orbital weapon from the old precursors. Huh. Basically, it was like a quarantine.
Like I'll be honest.
There's a gun that shot their ship out of the sky because they are quarantining the planet. That's the gist of it. So you are left alone. You are the last survivor of the ship that got shot down.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my honorable mention. It's a little weirder and less known. It's like probably the most popular indie game you could find.
I'm gonna be honest. I'd probably go watch this movie.
It would be kind of neat. You should have led with that instead of Titanfall.
Well, you gotta appeal to like the popcorn audience too. Like if you want massive violence and tits and robots, like that's where you go.
He can't say that.
Can I not say that?
Nah, you can.
No, I don't care.
All right, Gabe. Do you have any honorable mentions?
I would say it wasn't that great of a game, but Cyberpunk 2077, you could do like a little show on Johnny Silverhand with Keanu Reeves, because it's Keanu Reeves alone, actually.
Like a 30-minute, like...
kind of like a short film about... Because he was this character... I mean, I won't get too much into it, but he basically dies, but his conscience gets... encrypted on this engram, and it gets...
You don't want to get into much more because it's spoilery, but you could go before he died. I mean, he was an anarchist that tried to ruin the government.
He was a rock band guy. Like, he sounds badass, and he was. And he had a metal arm. Silverhand.
As a side note, the cyberpunk genre, if I'm remembering, Cyberpunk 2077 was based off of like a tabletop RPG, if I remember correctly. So there's stuff there you can go into.
I think it would be interesting just to see like Keanu Reeves like briefly.
Yeah, but show, like, Keanu Reeves can make anything cool. It's Keanu Reeves.
Sometimes true, sometimes not true. He has a very weird style of acting where you're like, this isn't good, but this isn't bad either. Like,
it's excellent, is what you're trying to say.
watch The Matrix, and like there's times where he's like,
The Matrix is
whoa.
amazing. Watch what you say.
Yeah, you watch what you say. The Matrix
I like The
made
Matrix. I don't
hardcore
feel-
science fiction mainstream for everyone, and I love hardcore science fiction, so tread
The first
lightly.
one's great. Second and third one are off the rails bonkers.
Okay.
That's part of hardcore science fiction, though, is the second and third books
bonkers.
always go bonkers.
Okay, should we get into the next topic then?
Yeah, how much time we got here? What are
We're about... It's a little over 12 o'clock, so we got time.
Okay, yeah.
We got
got
plenty of time. All right, so, I mean, you just want me to hop in first this time?
Just go right in, baby.
So basically, we're just going to give movies we'd like to see turned into video games. And we've already talked about this franchise twice now on the podcast. But I'm going to bring up Indiana Jones.
Oh, God.
In Indiana Jones...
That's a false pick. They already made games like that. There are bad...
Lego Indiana Jones, bro.
There are actually bad Indiana Jones.
When I mean movies made into like video games,
Like
I mean
good
like
ones.
really good ones, high budget, like using
You
the
want Last of
resources.
Us clone, don't you?
No, using the resources we have today. But like a late 1940s Indiana Jones game, like it's kind of a little bit like Uncharted, but like different, where you're fighting off Nazis, you're killing many Nazis, you're trying to find like different artifacts. You'd have to base it around him looking for like one artifact, maybe Indiana Jones and the Fountain of Youth video game, but it's basically him like trying to find an artifact. He's fighting off Nazis. He's somewhere in the world looking for it, maybe South America.
I know they're making an Indiana Jones video game.
I hope it's good, honestly.
I believe they. I remember reading that they are. Do I know what about? Not a clue.
I was about to say it'd just be like an Uncharted-esque Indiana Jones game would just be amazing to me.
We have our best techie on the issue, but I agree where you could have it kind of like Uncharted. And Uncharted is a lot like Indiana Jones,
Except it's like a modern day Indiana Jones.
That's true.
Like you're kind of in like the present day almost, but with like Indiana Jones, you'd go back to the 1940s. You'd fight Nazis. You'd fight anything else you'd come across. You're trying to find like an artifact. Like where Uncharted, they don't really have like real like artifacts that are in like that are like legends in like in the current day.
Like Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Thor's hammer.
It's like you could do like an Indiana Jones game where he looks for the Fountain of Youth, or he's looking for like Excalibur or something kind of like along those lines.
I agree. Something very mythology based, like they had the Ark of the Covenant, and not sure what was going on in Temple of Doom, but
yeah, that was just weird.
least favorite Indiana Jones movie. Anywho,
Discussion for another time.
Actually, we've already had the discussion.
We've had this discussion.
Well, on my 2 cents, Crystal Skull is arguably worse than Temple of Doom. I can at least laugh ironically at Temple of Doom. I just kind of don't enjoy Crystal Skull for anything.
Boo. Boo you. Boo you.
First half, good. Second half, abysmal.
Yeah, but I can laugh at the second half.
Okay, Caleb. We're getting a little off track.
Yeah,
so
we are.
let's have you hop into a movie you'd like to see as a video game
Okay, so
or TV show.
Or TV.
well, this was both. If I don't remember if the movie or the TV show came out, but Stargate is kind of an older one.
Which one? SG-1?
They're all kind of the same, but I would start with SG-1. It's essentially just we discover like a portal. It looks just like a ring, and you can dial up 12 coordinates on it, and you just go to another ring that's been set somewhere else in the universe. But it's all kind of the Milky Way, and it's kind of the government just goes around discovering stuff. There's not a whole lot of aliens because humans were originally there and just kind of got cut off, and they were used as slaves by another alien race called Goa'uld?
Don't look at me and ask me
I believe they are the Goa'uld, so don't at me if I'm wrong. But
Oh, we'll at you.
essentially, it would make you could make a video game kind of like a Mass Effect-esque choice one where you go through and you're the leader of the squad, and you just have to make these choices. And as time goes on, the Stargate SG-1 connections you're more well known, and you continue to solve these problems, striking back as a guerrilla warfare. And it makes sense in the universe too, because it's not like Star Trek where they show up and we're all peace and blah, blah. No, 90% of the episodes ended with C4 solving the problem, or they upgraded to like a ship that would teleport nukes onto other ships, and that was their thing. So I think that'd make like a good like Mass Effect shoot 'em up / make your own decision.
Far Cry
thing.
like.
No, not Far Cry. I didn't say Far
Like
Cry.
Far Cry.
This is my pitch, and I say it's not Far Cry.
Well, it sounds like Far Cry to me.
Okay.
What? What?
Why are you I got some
bullying
tension
me?
brewing.
I don't understand.
I don't think Far Cry would fit well because they don't establish that many outposts. It'd be more like they show up and make peace and then offer things and like diplomacy with violence. So they're diplomatic, but they'll more than happily just shoot you if you're causing problems, which I think lends more to the Mass Effect, like make a choice, than the Far Cry establish a base.
You had the most roundabout way of explaining it.
Plus, isn't Far Cry grounded?
Kind of, but it
depends on the game. But you end up like going into a certain place and then taking it over. And Stargate's more about discovery and diplomacy.
Like No Man's Sky.
Yes, but imagine No Man's Sky, except when you showed up and it's like the gold is here, and you more than happily just shot him.
Happy.
All right, Gabe, what's yours?
Honorable mention, not honorable mention, but a movie that I could see turned into a video game.
Choose wisely.
This might sound dumb, but I feel like Die Hard, where you had to kind of fight like floor to floor.
No.
Shut up! This is my choice. My turn, my choice. Screw you, Kill. But I feel like you could see like a first-person shooter, and like you play as Bruce Willis, and you have to fight like all the way to the top floor. Didn't
they put that in Warzone where you could fight in the tower and you were Bruce Willis and you killed other gunmen?
Nakatomi Tower, baby.
Exactly. So he already has a video game.
That's not true.
So, okay, my question is, what would making Die Hard into a single tower level as a first-person shooter bring to the video game space that's not there already with Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, or anything else?
You Bruce Willis.
Couldn't we just get Bruce Willis to star in like a Halo spinoff or something and make it just better?
Nope. Why are you booing me?
Because I don't see this idea going anywhere. Like, Preston, you see the problems with this, right?
I kind of do. I'm kind of with Caleb here.
You turned him against me?
You mentioned this on the car ride over, and I didn't want to shoot you down out of politeness, but like...
No, but you're more than happy to fucking shoot me... Yeah, that's right, I dropped an F-bomb. I don't care. You're more than happy to fucking shoot me down in public air. Are you kidding me?
This is an open place for discussion. I think your idea is a little poopy.
In my opinion,
you're a little poopy. Screw you.
In my opinion, it just really couldn't pass as a game today because it's just you're going from floor to floor. It's like kind of like a pretty limited area.
Like maybe it's like an old Xbox, like 90. Like what year did?
If it was made in
out?
like 2006, yeah,
earlier than 2006, like a 2000 like Halo Combat Evolved level of technology, and it's just one of those crappy video game tie-ins.
Actually, to be honest, like you could pass as like Doom, like a kind of like a Doom type thing.
But then why wouldn't you just make a better Doom game?
Screw you guys. I'm repicking now. I'm not riding with this. You guys have goddamn bullied me into changing it, so
What's your new choice?
Jurassic Park.
I don't
Actually,
want Jurassic
that would make good though.
No, they already have a Jurassic Park video game.
I'm talking about a good modern day one.
Yeah, like you would have to
Jurassic Park.
No, but like what if you did one where it was like Shadow of Mordor?
Hey, it's not your turn. It's not your turn.
We'll get back to you, Caleb,
okay,
I have an honorable mention.
Okay.
Let me rack my mind because I thought about Die Hard.
Do you want to go?
You guys just completely shit on it.
Do you want us to go around and do our stuff while you struggle to come up with a better one than Die Hard, the video game?
I'm looking at Preston's corner right now.
He's just looking at my video game shelf.
I feel like Inception would kind of be like a fun first-person shooter. Like you could.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, the rules. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, with the technology now.
Like the world will be bending as you're shooting. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, that would be actually quite intriguing.
You know what would be really good? It would make it kick-ass VR game. And like you get
violently ill.
Well, I didn't say it would be. Well, They have ways around that, but that's what I'm saying. Make it like a VR or like a shooter, and you have like unique abilities, and stuff just gets weird.
It's like zero. Like the levels would be different, completely different environments, and you could work in like zero gravity, or like you would have to try and shoot as the world is flipping. You know what I mean? Like they kind of did in the movie, but as like a first-person shooter, I think that'd be kind of neat.
I agree.
Okay, yeah, much better.
That's better than Die Hard.
That's better than Die Hard.
So my honorable mention.
You guys completely shit on
I'm
me.
just gonna hop right into my honorable mention. Oh, frick! What was I gonna say now?
He gets nervous. He's trying to front for us, Caleb.
Caleb, you go. I just blanked out on what.
So just to hop on the Jurassic Park idea, I think it's honorable mention because there are video games out, but I think it'd be kind of cool if you made like a Shadow Mordor-esque or like a hunting video game where you had to go around, and it would be Jurassic Park because let's say the island's overrun and it's been like, I don't know, 30 years since the last movie, and you go back there and you're just like a billionaire guy has hired you, and he's like, I want you to shoot a bunch of dinosaurs and I don't care. And you go there and you like have to track them. You have to figure out where they sleep, what they eat, and use weaknesses. You can poison their food. You have to use the right kind of ammo and weaponry. You can't go overkill.
Heroes. They poisoned them.
And you're hunting, right? And it's a dinosaur, and you want to use the right type of ammunition because you go too big and just blow it up, you don't get a trophy or you don't get money for it. So you could make like a really cool hunting game out of it.
You're doing this a little different than I'd do it. Like.
Well,
I'd hop into like the Jurassic Park horror genre.
That'd be cool too.
Like
the Velociraptor.
You're like a bounty hunter. You have like a small group of people, and your job's to go on there, and you have to get something out of the island. Like you're gonna have
an embryo or something.
Yeah, you have to get something off the island. But while you're going there, you're kind of being constantly berated by dinosaurs, different stuff like that. It's like a horror movie almost, where you're in the jungles fighting with dinosaurs. You know.
Yeah.
Pterodactyls are coming down, swooping up different members of your crew. You gotta defend yourself. Oh, I think it would just be like it would scare the living shit out of you.
Can you imagine going through like a dark maze of like containers and stuff, and you just hear the click clacking of like Velociraptor claws going around, and you're like, and you and two other people, one of them has like a fusee out because they can see the night goggles or something weird.
Yeah, you have like you have the night vision on, and you're kind of like going through like a dark cave in the middle of the island. You're kind of going down there with your gun, and you're looking around, and all of a sudden you just see you see a flash of an eyeball. You shoot like the night vision goggles over there, like a flashlight, and it's just this huge dinosaur, and you gotta basically run out of the cave with this thing chasing you. Like, oh, that'd be so sick.
These are both pretty.
Like
good
I said,
ideas.
it would scare the shit out of me. You hear like he said, like the clanking of their claws against the floor, and that's like the only thing you hear. You'd have like a
headset on, and you have to like kind of navigate without spooking them, so you kind of have to use sound.
You kind of have like
dodge
an eerie like score in the background, like that would scare the living crap out of me.
both the Jurassic Park ideas I think were pretty cool, actually.
And then mine, I know it's been done, but like a Star Wars bounty hunter game, like with like
they literally
up to
have
date.
a game called Star Wars Bounty
Yeah,
Hunter.
but
date.
you don't do much bounty hunting in that
But
game.
like with like my story would be like you're like a Boba Fett or like another
Montrose.
or like a very popular bounty hunter during like the Order 66 times, where your job is basically to hunt down Jedis.
Just make you like just make you a Mandalorian, and you just don't,
Or like
a nameless.
I would say just your
Montrose.
own custom bounty hunter. Like it could be different.
Mandalorian,
It could be like
or Trandoshan, or any of that.
You
stuff.
could be using different type of like weapons throughout the Star Wars lore, and your job's basically to hunt down Jedis.
You know what would really pair well with that is the Shadow of Mordor Nemesis system. Where the only thing that Hokie would have to explain is like how you would, when you die, you come back, but you could just explain it a way of like, oh, they're Jedi, they don't kill you, or when you die, you immediately get retrieved and you're thrown in a bacta tank or something. But like the idea of like a random thing, and like one guy keeps kicking your butt, so then he gets better, and so do you.
Like you're pulling out of hyperspace.
Say,
This guy.
I'd kind of do it like a more open world, like Jedi Fallen Order. Like you're kind of like you make
Oh,
your
on
own.
like a couple planets.
You make your own bounty hunter, and you're like.
You can make him with different skills of like, okay, maybe he's better at being a shooter, or
maybe
he's
he wants
really
to be
good
like
close
a
quarters.
like a hand-to-hand combat, maybe with like a Beskar spear or something like that, or you could be like a jetpack shooter, or you could be like pretty much anything kind of like that. Who knows? Maybe if you get to a certain point in the game, you could teach yourself you could take the lightsaber off of one of the Jedi you just killed and use it.
Swing it a little bit.
I would argue against no force powers.
No force powers
I would say you
at
just
all.
get good at lightsaber combat.
Because I'm like, okay, we've had a couple Star Wars games now, and Battlefront is cool. Jedi Fallen Order is really cool, and so I haven't played Squadrons yet. Kyo has played Squadrons.
It's a really good game until you play multiplayer and everyone's figured out the controls more than you.
And that's another thing you could do is like you can create your own ship. So like if you wanted to, you can recreate like a Slave 1 type ship, or you can create a different ship, and where you're tracking down, who knows, maybe Jedi and Jedi starfighters, and you're getting to like one-on-one
where they
space
ran away
battles,
and you got to shoot them
I
down
was
and
thinking that too.
You shoot them down onto a planet, then you got to follow them down
Yeah.
to the planet, and you got to hunt them down.
Yeah, it's like a populated city center and they're blending in and you got to track them down. Figure it out.
And then you could make it non-canon
Inverse.
to like where like Jedi that are you're hunting down like well-known Jedi, like maybe one of them's like Shakti because she never actually died, where you got to just basically hunt down Shakti.
Maybe she's like the primary target, and then like, because the thing is, you don't want to have like the Jedi Masters. You would probably only have one, and like a few Jedi Knights. You'd want. I would argue a lot of what you'd be hunting were like Padawans and stuff because
Yeah.
they would escape notice.
Padawans, Jedi Knights, like something kind of in there. Like personally, like one story I'd really love is like in an alternate universe where Mace Windu like survives the like when he confronts Palpatine, and your final objections to like hunt down like a battered Mace Windu. With like one hand, he has his purple lightsaber, scars all over his face. He's pissed. He's kind of like hunting. He's like hunting down. He's like fighting off other bounty hunters, and it's your job to go and like basically
like the
finish
final
the job.
boss.
And like so like the final boss would be like a Mace Windu or like a Jedi Master that was on the council.
Turns to the dark side, Mace Windu.
I would say no. I would say I don't think so. I'd say where he's still kind of within like the dark and light side because he's like a dark and light side user.
I was about to
purple.
point that out. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like, okay,
But where
imagine-
he's just a little bit more to the darker side. Like he put like the morals of the Jedi behind him, and now he's just.
Here's what I think would be cool is I think we talked about earlier, but it's Mace Windu and one eye is blind and he has Sith eye in the other. Like it's split. Like that is literally right down the middle.
That'd be cool. Like and like where he's blind, it's like blue, like a light blue.
Yeah, kind of like blue-ish, kind of.
Yeah, and your job is just to like hunt Mace Windu down at the end. Like that would be just like I would be geeking out playing that whole storyline.
Did you see the trailer for the new Star Wars game?
I have
The
not.
High Republic.
I have not.
It's.
I haven't
think
either,
it was
actually.
By Ubisoft. And it was,
no.
There wasn't much to. It's supposed to be an open world set in the High Republic.
Oh, another Far Cry clone. Awesome.
Hey man, if it's a formula and it works, it works. What are you shitting on Far Cry for?
I just don't like open world games where the gist of it is you just throw a bunch of random stuff in there and that's the open world where there's no purpose behind about half to 3/4 of the junk there. That's why, on just a side note, why Halo Infinite's open world is really good because it's focused and it's to the point.
Well, I don't know. Well, I might have to agree or disagree, and I won't say which.
Well, do you have an honorable mention, Gabe, at all?
I don't know. I'm kind of talked out about the bounty hunter start like an actual.
We'll make
Me
your
and
honor
Caleb just had two amazing honorable mention ideas. And you
Jurassic
don't
Park
want to.
You had to use your honorable mention after the shat the bed on the Bruce Willis one, huh?
I invited you here.
Oh, I see
You're the
Inception on the
guest.
corner.
I'm like, well, Inception I think would be cool.
I don't know, Gabe. After today, I'm thinking we should keep Prestin Sexton, but we have Caleb as.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow. Getting shit canned off my.
I'm not even gonna be allowed to show up
Prestin
again for this.
Sexton featuring Brother Gabriel.
I dropped an F-bomb and I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I'm like, but I had to.
I'm sorry, we are
bullied.
canceling Gabe. He said the F word on air.
Twice.
Yeah, I'm like, God, and I did.
From the bottom of my heart, Gabe, I truly love you, but that was the stupidest pitch out of all of them today by a mile. Like, all the other ones were believable.
I'm going to say it again. I already said it once. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys.
Okay, I want to be known. I didn't say anything.
He's giggling. He's enjoying it.
You sat there. You
this
watched
is
it happen.
because this is amazing.
Bystander. You're a goddamn bystander. You watched it happen.
All right, so should we do the new thing I said we should do at the end of every episode? So we'll start with Caleb here. Do you have any just like maybe below the radar movies you want to recommend to anyone out there?
Yeah, I didn't tell him we did that, by the way.
Thanks for the heads up. I think you guys should take it right away, and I'll come back to me at the end with I'll have a real banger by that time. But Gabe, why don't you take it?
I remember it was like an animated type thing, and it was. Do you remember Dead Space at all? Do you remember that game at all?
I don't.
It's kind of a horror game, but they had these animated, and it was kind of like what we talked about, just to keep in theme with what we did, and it talked about like the precursor to why everything was the way it was, and it was like this Dead Space kind of prequel, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of neat, horrifying, but it was cool.
I was about to say my recommendation is Soylent Green. You know Soylent Green? Yeah.
I do.
I don't know. It's just kind of like a fun futuristic movie based around. Well, actually, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone out there, even though it's from like the late or mid 70s.
Go watch it.
It's a good movie.
It's pretty good.
It takes on like a future utopia to like where like I wouldn't say a utopia, but like, there's a lot of like poor people. There's like the slums. It's kind of takes place in the slums. There was a famine. There's been diseases. It's been ridden. It's like the human race is kind of. It's not what everyone was expects the future to be like, and it's just a fun film.
Okay, I'll take it into consideration.
You kind of got me here, but I think a good one just to kind of look into is the first Stargate movie is like the prequel to all of it.
Kurt Russell, baby.
It's really good show, and if you like the movie, you will like the show. The show is arguably better than the movie. I mean, it's got like 12 or 13 seasons, so there are some bad episodes, but I recommend you at least give the movie a watch. It is one of the older sci-fi movies that informed a lot of stuff after it. So if anything, it's at least a piece of history. And hey, if you like the movie, there's like a bajillion episodes to watch.
This is true. I'm not that big on Stargate, but I like Stargate Atlantis. That was Jason Momoa's start. He played this guy, and he was like half
Ronan, wasn't he?
That's what his name was. He was Ronan. He was half wraith, half human. Get into it at some point. But...
And then I think I might have one more thing I want to bring up. Since this is the video game episode, I just want you to say like one up-and-coming video game that you're excited for.
Up-and-coming?
Like,
well, I think I kind of talked about it already, but the Star Wars game, open world, set in the High Republic, something different, and hopefully kind of, I don't know, I hope it keeps KOTOR canon, but...
And I'm kind of gonna go with, I'm surprised you didn't say. I'm going with the new Wolverine game that Marvel just announced. It's going to be made by like the same people who made the Spider-Man game. That was amazing. It'd just be cool to just play as Wolverine, just cutting through fools. It'd just be fun.
There are two things. I hope they make it rated M.
Which I think they will.
They should. Wolverine's...
It's like, how do you not make it rated M? You're going to be going around with adamantium claws, probably cutting people's heads off.
That, and it's PlayStation exclusive.
L.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, oh man, that kind of sucks. This kind of blows. Maybe I'll watch you play it, and that'll be my way of playing.
That, or it's like the new Spider-Man game, because I love the first one and the second one.
I remember watching.
They have kind of like a story. They kind of have like a storyline set up where it's probably gonna be Green Goblin or Venom.
I think it's Venom.
Probably Venom. But yeah, how about you, Caleb?
I haven't paid a lot of attention recently just because all the big ones have come out. I got into Halo Infinite. That was real good. But the one that comes to mind for me is Destiny's got Witch Queen coming out in February 22nd. It'll be a good jumping off point for those who want to just get into it fresh. Don't join now. Wait until that comes out because you'll be completely lost.
Make like Doja Cat and get into it, yeah.
Whatever that is.
What's that?
But that's kind of the up and coming one. The other one that came to mind when you mentioned was the new Fable game at some point would be kind of interesting. I'm interested to see like the modern take on lampooning RPG tropes in video games. I think that'd be a fun one. Xbox exclusive, baby.
Well, you've been listening to the Prestin Sexton podcast featuring brother Caleb today. We just ask you to like, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube page. TikToks will be coming soon. We promise that. Probably not till 2022, though.
Yeah.
Remember, if any one of the episodes that are coming out within the next month can get up to 100 views, Gabe is going to WAP on TikTok.
Gabe will do the WAP dance on TikTok. I said I would and I will. I'm a man of my word, Preston.
Well, this has been the Prestin Sexton podcast, signing off.